What's up, you certified beauties? It's Nick here from Nick's Taxes. It's a new week, and that means there is a new eligibility period for the Canada Recovery Benefit, the CRB. Period number 15 is going to be available for application on Monday, April the 26th. So you can get $1,000 gross for this time period if you are eligible. As a reminder, that time period is from April 11th to April 24th. It's period number 15. And you want to make sure that you're eligible for that full 2-week period before you apply. If you've applied for previous CRB payments, you'll have to reapply again. There's no automatic reapplication. You have to apply for every period that you qualify for. If you're unsure of the qualifications, be sure to check out my prior videos as I go in a lot more detail on who qualifies for the Canada Recovery Benefit. Big news though, however, this week, from the federal government in the budget. I did touch on it on my budget highlight video, but the Canada Recovery Benefits are going to be decreased by the summer. They're going to drop the amount that you're going to receive by $200 per week. So you'll only receive $300 per week instead of the regular $500 per week as an effort to save some money from the government budget perspective. So in this video, we'll talk a little bit more about that so you understand what's coming. I'll tell you a little bit more about saving, and if you have any questions on that, you can let me know in the comments below. But before we get into the video, I have a question and I want you guys to answer in the comments below. Assuming that all of your expenses for your basic needs and necessities were covered for the month and you were given $1,000 to do whatever you wanted, what would you do with that $1,000? I know the CRB of $1,000 per 2 weeks is out of necessity, but if you were given $1,000 to just spend on whatever, what would you spend it on? I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I think I would take a portion of it and spend it on some golf fees and some new golf clubs as we're heading into the spring and summer months, assuming though that Ontario reopens their golf courses. I have my fingers crossed that they do so this week instead of holding off until like the end of May, which is crazy. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, I'm Nick. I make videos on personal tax, financing, investing, the Canada Recovery Benefits, UBI, all that kind of stuff that involves money and Canadians. So if that's of interest to you, please feel to subscribe. And I'd really appreciate it if you guys give this video a thumbs up. It helps my channel grow and helps the YouTube algorithm send this out to people who could really use this information. So thank you for doing that. I also got some flack from some of you guys in my last video. I talked about Justin Trudeau and I called him the President Trudeau instead of the Prime Minister. Obviously, I know he's the Prime Minister. I misspoke. Thank you for all of you guys who caught it and gave me flack. I guess I didn't think it was that big of a deal. If you know the difference between a Prime Minister and a President, let me know in the comments below, and that way I won't make that mistake again. But thank you guys for catching it. I did notice it when I was editing the video. I just wasn't going to go back and reshoot that segment just to change President to Prime Minister. So sorry about that, guys. Okay, so into the content that you guys care a little bit more about, and that is the Canada Recovery Benefits and what's potentially going to happen starting this summer. In the budget that was released not too long ago, the government basically proposed that there was going to be $101 billion in recovery spending. And part of that recovery spending is the Canada Recovery Benefits. They're going to be extended for 12 weeks beyond their initial phase-out date. However, starting in July, they're going to be reduced from their current $500 per week payout to $300 per week. So what does that $300 per week mean for us? It means a couple things. People who are getting the benefit, the Canada Recovery Benefit, for 50 weeks will receive $300 weekly for the last 8 weeks of their benefit periods. Basically, beyond 42 weeks of benefits, you'll be receiving $300 instead of the $500. So beyond 42 weeks, you're going to see a reduction of $200 per week. Also, anyone else who is submitting a new CRB claim after July 17th will start to receive the lower $300 amount. Obviously, for those who are still relying on these COVID recovery benefits, this is some pretty disappointing news. It maybe is starting to cause some anxiety for you guys because In some areas, such as Ontario, we're actually seeing stricter lockdowns right now than we were like even at this point last year. So we're really hoping that the recovery of our economy happens quickly here so that people can get jobs and won't have to rely on these benefits come the summertime. But with these benefits, with these lockdowns, especially in Ontario, going towards closer to the end of May, there's no guarantee that this might happen. So we'll have to follow along as the spring progresses to see how exactly this is going to look for a lot of Canadians. Obviously, the reduction in the benefits comes from this massive deficit that we're looking at from a country as a whole. So last year, the government ran a deficit of $354 billion. And in this current year, it's going to run a $154 billion deficit. Obviously, these are huge numbers and they can't continue forever. Canada's got to do something to stop running these massive deficits. And so one of the solutions to cut some spending somewhere is to lower the recovery benefit. So hopefully we can get some more vaccines and some more opening up of our economy, depending on however that looks like. What your thoughts are on how that should happen, regardless of whatever that is, we need to start seeing our economy open back up and people going back to their jobs. Because these CRB benefits, this $300 per month is not going to, $300 per week is not going to suffice. $500 per week, as we've talked about, doesn't really cut it at all. And so getting it cut to $300 per week is going to be that much tougher and really not sustainable. I think at this point, you're really going to have to start looking aggressively for jobs and taking jobs even if they're not your top choices. So maybe taking a job that's not necessarily in your field or not the best job that you thought you maybe deserved at this point in time. You need to basically just start working at a place where you can get your income, where you can start covering your basic necessities again. So hopefully we're starting to see more places that are going to open up and start employing more of you people out there. So take a look. Canada has a job bank available, and if you're up on the CRB, you should already be on that job bank actively looking for a job, because that's one of the qualifications for the CRB, is that you're actively looking for work, you just don't have it. I'm also going to start talking about the importance of having an emergency fund. So once you start working, it's important to set some money aside for emergencies such as a global pandemic. If you have lost your job, you should be able to lean on this emergency fund in case you don't have income coming in anymore. So once you do have a job, it's important to set a budget and set aside some money for emergency savings. You also are going to want to look at investing, and these again are different categories in which I'll start talking about a little bit more as the year goes on. Obviously right now in tax season, I can't make a whole lot of videos, and these kind of content take priority as well because it's new and current news. But I think it's really important for Canadians to take control of their money and have a good budget. A lot of us are in debt, a lot of us don't have budgets, and it's an important skill for us to learn and to know. If you are looking at investing, this is not financial advice by any means, but take a look at some ETFs like XIU. If you're banking on the Canada economy recovering, an ETF like XIU would be a good stock or a good ETF to invest in, as you're basically betting on the economic recovery here in Canada. Stock XIU is an ETF that invests or covers the top 60 stocks on the Toronto Stock Exchange. So you're basically investing in the top 60 Canadian stocks here in Canada, and you're banking on them to improve with our economic recovery. With this, obviously, also as you're investing in a wide spread of stocks on the Toronto Stock Exchange, there's that built-in diversification. So you're going to have exposure in multiple different industries across our economy, and they also pay out a dividend. Right now it's around 2.5%. So you should be getting a little bit of passive income with this investment. Obviously, I'd recommend taking a look at a tax-free savings account to do this sort of investment in, or an RSP. Take advantage of our Canada registered savings plans that are available to you, such as the TFSA, where you can grow your investments tax-free. Any capital gains when you sell it are tax-free. Any dividends that you receive are tax-free. You can take that money out anytime without penalty, and that contribution room gets replenished in the next year. I'll talk a little bit more about the TFSA in future videos, but I have done TFSA videos in the past that you can refer to if this is content that's new to you. So if you've made it to the end of this video, thanks so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you have. I really appreciate you guys. And I will see you guys in the next video. I'm Nick from Nick's Taxes. And as always, happy taxing.